And hello everyone, welcome back to a new video. Okay, so today we'll be talking about how to run your Python and your C++ code in one. So how to run Python in C++. So of course, to do this you'll need to know C++, and you'll probably need to know a little bit of Python since you want to run it inside of your code. So what would be the point if you don't know Python but you want to run it? You know. So you can either open up your file manager or you can open up your terminal. I would like for my terminal to please open up. There we go. Did two open up? Yes, there did. Okay. So I'm going to go to my C++ files. You can go to wherever you want to. And let's see. Do I have a YouTube here? I do not have a YouTube. That's very strange. I think YouTube is in trash. See, trash. Okay, I see. I can just go into trash and then say make dir, and here we can just make a directory called Python in C++. So then Python in C++, and then here's nothing here. So then we can create two files, or we can create one file called main.cpp. Now I will later also show you how to run a Python file inside of C++, but we'll get to that, just be patient. So then you can just open up VS Code in this file. So just give it a second. Okay, so then I can just open up main.cpp, and let's go here. So first you want to create your main, because you always need your main, because it's C, you know. So now that we have that, let's make sure everything works. So let's go. I'm not going to hashtag include. Nope. Hashtag include. And you just go iostream. And then here I can just say std cout hello std and now. And then here I can just go g++ main.cpp -o output and /output. Okay, there we go. So we just created our C++ file and we just compiled it and ran it. It works perfectly fine. You can do this in your file manager. I just don't want to. So the method I'm going to show you will work on both Windows and on Linux. For in case you were wondering, I just use Linux, but it will work on both Windows and Linux, and probably Mac as well. I think it's pretty universal because the header file is in both Windows and Linux. So we don't need this iostream, so I'm going to remove that just to remove weight from the application. You can actually keep it in because it's not that bad, you know. So then you just got to create the define. I don't know how necessary this is, but I would put it in there just in case. So py _ size _t _clean. Now, yeah, this is just a normal define. We don't have to really talk about that too much. Now, here is where the things might differ a little bit between my computer and your computer. So you can go include, and then we need to include a few things. So you may not have to put the full path in here, but if I don't, I kind of struggle. So I'm going to go USR because that's where my things will be. So USR /include /Python 3.6 /main where did you get that /Python.h. So if you are, I'd say there finds it. So if you are on Windows, you might only have to go hashtag include Python.h or whatever. I don't really know what to do if you're on Windows. But if you are on Linux, it would be in the Python and in Python version, and then inside there will be in Python.h. So you might only maybe have to say this, depending on how you compile it and stuff. Depending on what you do, you know, I'll just put the entire thing in here because then I know it will work. It's the easiest way to do it, but of course you can remove this. It's not necessary to have all of this. Anyways, Just put it into our path there and then we'll know it works. So then we want to do a wchar underscore t and then make a pointer program. If you're not that good in Python, don't worry. This is not something to be worried about too much. This won't do too much to your code. Then you can go equal to py underscore decode local, and this is what's inside of the header. And then we can just go argv 0 and null. So this is inside of the header, and everything with doing Python and C++ is going to be inside of this header right now. So all of these py underscore functions, or py and whatever functions, they are part of this program, or part of the header. So you can go if program equals null. So if the program is equal to null, I didn't really, the documentation didn't really explain this too deeply, but basically I just think if it says program is equal to null, it just means that it couldn't locate that part in the memory for Python, or I don't know, don't really ask me. And then you can either print out something in here, or you can just exit 1. So if you want, you can hashtag include and whatever, and then just exit 1. Or I think you can actually use print in here. If print, let's see, if print, can you use if print without importing anything? Yes, it seems you can. And you can like stdar, because it's standard error, I think. But I think that's what I mean. And then you can just say fatal error cannot decode argv, and we can say 0 and just create a new line. So then we can have a py underscore set program name. Now this is optional, you do not have to do this program, but it's recommended that you do. I don't really know what this does too much. The documentation again didn't really explain on this, or the part I read didn't really explain too much about this. So yeah, unfortunately. Okay, now this they did explain. So py underscore initialize. Now what initialize is going to do is it's going to basically, if we can go here, it's going to do this. Python, oh gosh, Python 3. It's basically going to do, it's going to open up the interpreter, and then you can like do print hello. So it's just going to open up the interpreter, and let's just clear that, and that's what it's going to do. But then we need to make sure to close this. So first thing we can do is we can say if, and we can go py underscore can you finish that, finalize, and if this is less than 0, then we should exit 120. I do not know what exit 120 means, but it probably just means exit in some way. Why was that in here? Oh, that should have an ex, like that. Yeah. But anyways, this will try and close Python. This will try and stop this. So if this is false, then it's going to do that exit. So yeah, you need to have the initialize and then the close, because these two are important. And then you can free this. So py mem raw free, and we can free the program. So what do we have here? So we have the define, we have the include, which is really important because you need to include Python.h. If you struggle to include Python.h, I recommend you Google how to include Python.h on your operating system. And you have this wchar, and then you just have where you basically create the program. And then you have this, if the program basically couldn't start running, then then exit. Otherwise, you can just set the program name and then you can initialize it. And you have your PyInitialize, which starts up the Python interpreter, and then your PyFinalize EX, which I believe closes the interpreter, and this just frees up the memory, if I'm correct. Take all of what I'm saying with a grain of salt. And then above this PyFinalize EX, above this, you can start adding your code. So py run, and we're going to say underscore simple string. Simple string. Yes. And then in here is what will be executed inside of the interpreter. So if I go here, print hello world. So if I put that there and I compile this. Wait. So when I'm going to compile this, it's going to throw an error. Exactly. So the compiling is a little bit different than what you usually do. So you can go G++. If you're on Windows, I'm not quite sure how you're supposed to do this. If you're on Linux, you can just use G++ and just modify it compared to mine. -I for, I believe, include, and /usr /include /python 3.6. And yeah, now if this looks familiar, that is because here it is. I included an entire thing right here, which means on your end it may not work, but on my end it does work perfectly. So you can go main.cpp -l then /usr. So you need to change this. Remember, you need to change this to whatever yours will be. If you're on Linux, it will probably still be in user include and in Python, your version of Python. It will probably still be in there. If you don't use Python, if you don't use Linux, then I don't know. Then user /lib /python 3.6 / and now here, this one is also, I think, Linux only. If you're on Windows, you really need to go check up on this because I don't know. But on Linux, you have to then say config -3.6, and this will most likely change for you because inside of this Python 3.6 folder, you should actually go there. So Control Shift T, you should actually go there. So cd /usr /lib /python 3.6, and in here we can actually grep -i config. Right here, this is the one I want to show you. You need that. So with me, it's in user lib python 3.6. So basically a library of Python 3.6. And then you have your config. And as you can see, mine is for Linux. So yeah, just take high notes of that when you see this. Okay, so once you have included that, then you have to include the entire name. So I have 3.6 m-x86 _64 -linux -gnu. So that's everything that was in there. And then you have -l, and take note of this. This order matters. So if this -i is going to be behind main.cpp or this -l is somewhere else, it may not work. So take note that this order does matter. Python 3.6, because I use Python 3.6, and then I'm just going to say -o output. Now if we run that, and then we can run our output, as you can see, it said hello world. So I'm just going to Control Shift C here, and then right underneath this, I'm going to just paste that there. So look, now I can just copy and paste if I ever need to. But I wouldn't actually need to, guys. Now I can just go and /run output. Did I save that? Gosh darn it. So it's and dot slash output. Okay, so this is basically Python. And now this is one line, so of course you can either go and you can say semicolon and then print cool. So you can use a semicolon if you want. But as you know, semicolons are seen as bad practice. So you can either go /n like that, because then we'll just create a new line. And there's an indentation. There you go. Now you get the same output, or you can close off this. You go /n. So here's two quotation marks. So you can actually do this now. So now it's more or less aligned with each other. And then you can like even go boom, and you can add another line. So let's go in from math import, and we can like go sqrt, and then we can go print sqrt of 25, and let's run that. Syntax error. Oh, I forgot about my /n's, my new lines. /n, they're important. And then you have this, you can see here, hello world Google 5.0. Now that's nice and all, but you know, I don't like this method that much. So I would rather recommend, for me at least, you do not need to do this, cbbb. You know, you can just do that. And then let's print, or let's include that math here. So from math import square root, and then print sqrt of 25. Now if you run it, you get the same output. Nice. But you're all probably wondering, okay, this is nice and all, but how do I execute a darn file? Okay, so yeah, let's get to that then before you get on my case. So let's open up here and let's create a Python file called side.py, because this is going to be run from the side. And let's go here and open up side.py, and here let's import from math import, and we can just import square roots again. Then we can go and we can say x is equal to 125, and then we can go print the square root of x. So how would we go about running this? Because if we were to run this normally in Python side.py, we would get 11. So let's try and run it from here. So we can remove that, and we can keep this run by underscore simple string. In here, you can say exec, I believe that stands for execute. Now, this version is Linux only. If you do not use Linux, if you use Windows, I don't think you need to use open. If you don't use Linux, if you use Windows, you don't need to use open. I think if it doesn't work without open, then just use open. But I'm going to say open. And in here, you can put in your file. If you don't use Linux, you can just put in your file. I'm going to say side.py. So then if we go here and we compile it, must be a string. Excuse me, it is. Oh wait, sorry. We have to say that. Dot read. Yeah, sorry about that. And there we go. So then we execute it. So now, whenever we modify this right here, so we can actually say print hello world dot lower, just because we can. And then if we run this, we get hello world in all lowercase. Isn't that great? So yeah, that is how you run everything. So basically, you just have this, and you have this, and then right here between these two sides, So let's go here and just say below start, and then above finish. Then you can just put all your Python code here. But take note, this is a very high level version of doing it. It's easiest, and you can have more complicated things. Look in the description, I have the link towards the documentation, which you can read, and it will tell you more about this and tell you what you can do more. Documentation isn't that great though, but you should use it if you want to go and dive in further, because you can go so far as to basically being able to do anything in Python. So yeah, I recommend you go check out the documentation. Otherwise, thank you for watching. I hope you all enjoyed and learned something new. And see you all in the next video.